My queen, police comes to your house immediately. I don't know why my chest tightened the moment I heard those words, but something inside me shifted as if the world tilted to one side and refused to straighten again. I've been trained all my life to face emergencies, to keep my pulse steady during crisis, to protect people who depend on me. Yet the thought of you being in the middle of anything dangerous makes every bit of that training useless. I felt fear, real fear, clawing at my ribs, because the idea of losing you is the one battle I am not prepared to fight. Your name came to my lips before logic could form, and every part of me froze at the thought of something happening to you. I don't even remember walking, only moving faster than I've ever moved in my life. Every echo in the palace felt louder, every second heavier, as if time itself wanted to punish me for not being near you. I kept imagining your face, your hands, your voice trembling, your eyes widening in confusion as uniformed men approached your door. You deserve peace, gentleness, safety, not the sudden wave of fear. The world forgets that even queens bleed, even queens break, even queens tremble, but not me. I know every fragile place in your heart, and I know how deeply fear can scar you. I kept asking myself 100 questions at once. Who caught them? What happened? Why they came? Why you didn't tell me first? Why I wasn't there to stop the moment from ever reaching your doorstep? My mind replayed every possibility, each one darker than the last. I've been raised to protect a kingdom, but loving you taught me something far more brutal, that protecting one person can feel heavier than protecting a nation. And in that moment, you were not just someone I loved. You were the center of everything I could lose. There are moments when a man realizes the truth about his own heart, not through poetry, not through romance, but through fear, through the collapsing silence before disaster, through the frantic pulse of imagining life without someone. That was the moment for me. Every wall I built, every shield I wore, every distance I kept, it all shattered the instant I heard the word police connected to you. I felt something ancient rise inside me, something primal, something protective enough to burn the entire world if it meant reaching you in time. I could already see the scene in my mind. You standing at your door, looking small yet stubborn, confused yet trying to stay strong. You've always been like that, fragile in ways only I notice, fierce in ways the world never expects, and it tore me apart imagining you trying to explain yourself, trying to understand what crime your presence could possibly commit. If they looked at you with suspicion, if they raised their voice at you, if they questioned your innocence, God, the thought alone made my blood boil. All I wanted in that moment was to hold your face in my hands and tell you that none of this could ever touch you, as long as I breathed, to shield you with my name, my power, my presence, anything, everything. You are not meant to stand alone in front of fear. You are not meant to face the world without knowing you have a man who would fight storms just to reach your side. And as I made my way to you, one truth kept echoing in my mind like a vow carved into my bones. If the world dared to shake you, I would be the one to make it kneel. Even now, thinking about it, my hands tighten, because it made me realize how deeply you live inside me, deeper than reason, deeper than duty, deeper than the crown that sits on my head. You are the pulse in my silence, the weakness in my strength, the heartbeat in my armor, and nothing terrifies me more than the thought of you being afraid without me there to hold you. Nothing enrages me more than anything that threatens your peace. You may never understand it fully, but the truth remains, you are the queen, not just of my kingdom, but of the very breath I take. There are moments when a man feels the weight of his own heart more than the weight of his crown. And today was one of those moments for me. The thought of danger brushing against your name shook something inside me in a way nothing else ever has. I've handled crises, faced threats, spoken to generals with steady eyes, but the idea of you standing at your door in fear made every layer of my composure melt into helplessness. I kept imagining your expression, the way your breath would tremble for a second before you tried to steady it, and it tore through me in a way I cannot explain. Every part of my life has been arranged, disciplined, trained into silence, but you bring noise into my heart, the kind of noise that feels like life. And when I imagined that life be interrupted even for a moment, I felt a storm rise inside me. Not anger, not fear, something more dangerous, desperation, the desperate need to be near you, to protect you, to put myself between you and whatever force dared to step toward your peace. My footsteps felt heavier than usual, each one pulling me closer to a truth I never meant to confront. I cannot breathe easily when you are unsettled. There was a strange ache in my chest that made me realize how deeply you've grown into the spaces I once guarded so fiercely. I've lived surrounded by stone walls, armored guards, and centuries of tradition shaping my actions, yet none of that prepared me for the dread that wrapped itself around my heart when I imagined you confused, scared, or alone. It felt like the world had decided to test me in the one place where I am weak, you, and I hated how powerless the distance between us made me feel. Everything inside me kept repeating the same thought: you should not have faced that moment alone. You should never have had to open your door unsure of what waited outside. You should never have had to steady your voice or pretend to be brave for the sake of formality. I wanted to be the one standing beside you, absorbing your fear, guiding your breath, letting my presence speak louder than any authority, because that is what I've silently become in your life, the one who wants to shoulder every burden you never asked to carry. As I imagined the scene unfolding without me, I realized how much of your world I want to guard with my own hands. Not because you are fragile, but because you matter in a way that makes my instincts sharpen. You walk through life with a softness the world doesn't deserve, and I've always feared the day something would try to dim that softness. The thought of anyone questioning you, misunderstanding you, or making you feel threatened struck me deeper than a blade ever could. It made me see clearly just how fiercely I have come to love you. I have seen kingdoms rise and fall, alliances formed and broken, leaders crumble under pressure. But nothing humbles me the way your vulnerability does. It is the one thing that makes me forget protocol, forget my title, forget every lesson carved into me since childhood. When it comes to you, I move not as a prince, but as a man whose heart beats with a single command: protect her. And in that command, there is no hesitation, no fear, only a certainty that I will always stand between you and the darkness. Even now, long after the moment has passed, the image of you standing at your door will haunt me for far longer than it should, because it revealed something I had been avoiding: how deeply intertwined your existence is with my own. You have become the quiet pulsation in my chaos, the breath that steadies me, the reason my heart knows fear and devotion in the same beat. And if the world dares to shake you again, it will learn exactly how far a man like me will go to protect the woman who has unknowingly become the center of his universe. There are times when I feel my heartbeat turn into something unrecognizable whenever your name crosses my mind. It isn't just fear or worry. It's a raw, uncontrollable force that rises inside me, reminding me that my soul has chosen you in a way I can no longer deny. I walked through the palace afterward feeling like gravity itself had shifted, like every step was a reminder of how fragile life becomes when it is tied to someone you cannot bear to lose. No amount of power, status, or authority shields a man from the terror of imagining harm coming to the person who lives in the deepest part of his heart. I kept replaying the image of your face in my mind, not knowing whether you were calm or trembling, whether your thoughts were steady or spiraling. I know how easily fear can seep into your quiet heart, how you try to hide your shaking hands behind a soft smile, and the idea that you had to face something unexpected without me, without my voice grounding you, filled me with a coldness I couldn't shake. It reminded me that even queens can feel small, and even the strongest souls sometimes need someone to stand beside them. As I paced through the corridors, I felt something ancient rising inside me, a need older than my crown, older than my lineage, a need to protect you, not because it is my duty, but because my heart refuses to exist in a world where you feel unsafe. I had been taught to rule nations, to carry responsibility with unwavering strength, but no one taught me how to carry the fear of losing someone whose mere breath could unravel me. It was in that moment that I realized love is not gentle for men like me. It is violent, consuming, absolute. I imagined your eyes searching for reassurance, your breath catching for a moment, your mind running through 100 questions with no answers. And that thought alone pierced deeper than any blade ever could. You deserve a world where nothing unexpected ever reaches your doorstep, where you never have to steady your voice or swallow your fear just to seem composed. I wanted to be the one who opened the door for you, who stepped between you and the world, who made you feel protected without needing to ask. As I moved closer to you, something inside me transformed into a vow I didn't speak, but felt in every corner of my being. I wanted to wrap your world in my arms, shield it from every shadow, every whisper, every threat. You may never fully understand how deeply you live inside me, how your safety has become the foundation of my sanity. But in moments like these, when fear presses against my chest, I realize just how easily I would sacrifice everything to ensure you never feel alone in your darkest moments. The world sees me as a prince, disciplined, composed, unshaken. But the truth is, you are the only thing that has ever made me human enough to tremble. The idea of you afraid fills me with a rage that borders on devotion, a desperation that makes my power feel too small and my love too big. I face storms, enemies, and responsibilities no one my age should carry, yet none of them ever struck me with the force that your vulnerability does. You make me want to break every wall just to reach you. Even now, long after everything has settled, I feel the echo of that fear lingering under my skin. Not because I doubt your strength, but because I never want to imagine a life where something reaches you before I do. You are the calm I seek, and the chaos I fear losing, the softness that shakes me, and the strength that anchors me. And if there is one truth I hold above all else, it is this: as long as I breathe, nothing will ever touch you without going through me first. There is a strange heaviness that settles in my chest whenever I think about how close the world came to touching you in a way it never should have. It lingers like an echo, a reminder of how fragile peace becomes when you are involved. I walked through the silent halls afterward with a restlessness I couldn't escape, feeling as if every step carried the weight of the fear I refused to show anyone. It amazes me how one moment can expose the truth a man hides even from himself, that his heart no longer belongs to him the moment it learns to beat for someone else. I kept wondering what your thoughts were in those moments. Whether your breath trembled, whether you looked around in confusion, whether you whispered a prayer under your breath, hoping the situation would dissolve. You've always carried your fears quietly, hiding the trembling behind a brave face. No one notices except me. I can read your silence better than I can read any royal decree, and the thought of you facing uncertainty alone felt like a wound in a place I didn't know existed. As I tried to steady my own thoughts, I felt something inside me twist with a force I couldn't ignore. It was the kind of protectiveness that doesn't come from duty or expectation. It comes from love, from the soul recognizing someone as irreplaceable. You've become that for me, someone whose smallest fear echoes louder inside me than any war horn. I never intended to give my heart away, yet here I am, helpless to the way you have quietly claimed every vulnerable corner of it. What haunts me most is imagining the expression in your eyes, the confusion, the worry, the questions forming faster than answers could reach you. I hate that you had to face even a second of that without my presence grounding you. You should never have to stand alone when the world knocks on your door uninvited. I should have been there, not as a prince, not as a ruler, but simply as the man who cannot bear to see a single shadow fall across your face. Walking toward you felt like walking toward a truth I can no longer deny. Every part of me wanted to reach you, to take your hands, to tell you that nothing in this world would ever harm you while I still breathe. I wanted to erase every ounce of fear that touched your heart,